Welcome to Conversations with Lauren and Ali, where we bridge all things in the spiritual and human experience.
This is a space where raw honesty meets higher truth, where personal stories open doors to deeper self-awareness, and where the messy, magical journey of being human is honoured as a sacred path of awakening. So, take a breath, get cozy, and join us in today's conversation.
Sort of all dropped in um but like I think I've told you before, I want to call it remembrance codes, which is what my original
I
6 week
remember
long
that, yeah. I
program
remember
was.
the remembrance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I want to call it. Like
Mm,
it's like that's what it needs to be. It needs to be that again. Like that's my sort of signature offering, when it
mm.
comes to, yeah, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
that's where we kind of find ourselves, isn't it? I don't know, but this was dropping in yesterday, actually through an MSI session. Um, it was like there's more soul remembrance available.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about us going through a second awakening or 55 or 55th
Yeah.
awakening. Um, but I feel like there are more people coming forward now. Like you said, you had a person maybe who hadn't experienced anything like this before drop into your group circle.
Yeah.
So I don't think, and I think it doesn't have to be complicated, but it's
Yeah.
putting the field, it's the frequency and putting, like opening up the spaces for people to come and remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't have to have 55 steps or, a
No.
process for it. It's just allowing exactly
It's the
what, really, it's
yeah.
what you did
It's
yesterday.
the frequency. It's letting
Mm,
people be like exposed to and activated by the frequencies.
mm.
Yeah, that's what it is, really. Like we can have a structure in our head, but it doesn't it
Well,
unfolds differently for everybody.
yeah, yeah. And I think that in some ways, a loose structure that you can advertise because, of course, you have to put something out there. But
Yeah.
exactly as you said before, even just headings to allow for the flow and to allow for
Yeah.
the group that is going to come in for that particular cohort or
Yeah.
circle, um, and let that expand. But it's interesting because I do feel as though even for myself, there's more soul remembrance coming through in a different way and in some senses overlaying what was already there, but helping me find the clarity
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
the understanding a little bit more. And some of it still feels a little bit out of my reach, but I can feel like it's just, well, like you said, a reclamation because it feels almost like the layer upon layer upon layer is returning.
Yeah. 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 And it just I don't know, like soul remembrance, that's always, it's a big part of what I do. And when I try to describe to people what it is that I do, that's
Mm.
the words that I most often use. But it's such a big umbrella, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like you can't really, you can describe it really briefly and, in a short amount of words, but the way that it eventuates and evolves and the way we experience it is just so varied and it can just be, yeah, it can just be anything. Like yesterday, as an example, people coming into a group to reclaim and abandon aspect of self, but really it's soul remembrance in other ways because of the frequencies that we worked with and yeah, so many other aspects of it. It's yeah, I think we don't even realize half the time when it's happening.
Mm.
Like you said, we just get the some sort of clarity comes through.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting because, as you said as well, we're all going to experience that remembrance a little bit differently. And so even you and I are going to experience it differently.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what makes it, I'm just feeling into this idea of like the power to of the group, because then it's like the field and the frequency is amplified.
Mm.
And it may also bring remembrance in on other layers or
Yeah.
multidimensional layers and
Totally
levels.
does.
And how powerful maybe the group space is
Yeah.
compared to also the one-on-one when we're talking about receiving that soul remembrance or um, yeah, coming into remembrance.
Yeah.
I don't know, that just feels like it's I know we've been talking a bit about group spaces and about how we feel about them, but I'm wondering if this is um, maybe for you showing you the power that is
Yeah.
there or what can be created, what can be
Yeah.
created.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. And I think, like you said, the group, having using yesterday as an example, having all of the different, star mothers or those energies coming in, those multidimensional aspects of self or guides, however that
Mm-hmm.
whatever they were, whoever they were for each person, that's they're bringing like individual frequencies into the space, aren't they? So it really does amplify it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so interesting.
mm,
So interesting.
yeah,
And maybe it's also showing us around soul remembrance that it may look differently to how people like yourself and myself, how we encountered it,
yeah,
or reminding us of what that was like. Because sometimes when you are so, like you said, oh, this, and I'm so attuned to this, I didn't necessarily feel like anything was happening. And then the group's having profound experience.
yeah,
I'm just kind of feeling into, is it that maybe there's a refinement too about the way that we know soul remembrance happens? It doesn't have to be a big past
yeah,
life regression type journey,
yeah,
or is it as well just reminding us of the simplicity of how it is at certain stages where you are just receiving and soaking it up and
yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah,
because I'm trying to recall some of my early experiences and I'm finding it really hard to remember what that was like.
yeah. I remember a couple of mine, and they always sort of brought about a really physical, usually tears, like that
Mm,
really deep remembrance of literally just reading something and
hmm
resonating so deeply with it and feeling like that was my truth that I would just cry,
mm,
because it felt true. It felt like home.
yeah,
It felt like I'd freaking remembered something,
yeah, mm.
Or even like reading what you remember when we did in Star Mothers, Bringers of the Dawn, the Barbara
Ah,
Marciniak book.
yes, yes.
That is the biggest book of remembrance, which I'd read some years before doing that book club,
Hmm
but you could sit and read that book. Well, not everybody will, but for me, because it's channeled through the Pleiadians, and the Pleiadians were the first, cosmic energies that I ever
hmm
connected with. And they were like my first experience with soul remembrance was through them,
Yeah.
was through connecting to them. And yeah, you can read that book. Like I remember reading that book and just going, oh, like nodding and going, yes, like, oh my God, yes, I remember this, but like I've never read anything like that before, but it just felt
Mm,
like I already knew. Yeah,
hmm
yeah, yeah,
And again, that's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful. So even these spaces don't have to be so activating that the body gets triggered. And,
yeah,
following on from what we spoke about last week,
yeah,
where if the body's already on alert and it's looking for that threat and the danger and it doesn't necessarily receive if it feels highly activating, but how beautiful that the space that was created allowed the body, even you said the somatic work,
yeah,
it just created
mm-hmm,
what I'm hearing is like a cocoon so that
yeah,
people could just sit in that remembrance
yeah,
without it feeling stimulating.
yes.
Mm,
And that is what I want right now. I think
mm,
that's where I'm at and what I want
mm,
to share with other people. And I know you do too. Like you want it to be embodied, you want it to be
mm.
grounded, but still transformative and profound and all of those things, but to really, yeah, be a grounded
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
And I think that there are many people, I've certainly had some in my world as well share, or my community share, that they're not feeling to be activated at the moment, like they're feeling for softer process. But I'm just feeling as we're talking through this that this is just highlighting that it can be softer. Like when we use the word activation, it carries like
It's yeah,
a
a certain
frequency. So
yeah,
maybe it's the remembrance, like the word remembrance or
yeah,
reclamation.
yeah,
I mean, I guess it depends on again how any one person
yeah.
relates to the word, the frequency. But it doesn't have to be activating in the way that we've known it.
No,
And that maybe we've received activations or, held activations that have felt like on the
yeah,
body, not
yeah.
necessarily in a bad way, but it's
No,
just
it's
stimulated
just a lot.
the
Yeah,
heightened, the heightened. If we think of the body's informing, it's saying, well, hey, I don't know what this is, and it feels like a lot, and it's new,
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah. So this beautiful redefining of soul
yeah,
activation to soul remembrance.
yeah,
I don't know what the words might be, or soul reclamation. It just feels softer. Like I
yeah,
feel like even the field we're talking with is
yeah,
softer.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I can say that, for the last year, and this, that I was done with being activated
Mm.
anymore. I couldn't sit in group circles. I didn't even really run any programs. Sorry.
Yeah, but that makes sense with your journey that you were just mentioning about not feeling to be in
Yes,
activating
yeah,
spaces or in activation. That
yeah,
makes sense that
yeah,
this would be
yeah,
coming forward and wanting to be expressed with for you and through you.
yeah. And experienced differently. It was almost like, yeah, yeah, I want the way I want to experience things, that's what I want to share
Mm.
with others too, so that it isn't overactivating and overwhelming, and
Yeah.
that it is more grounded and embodied, and there is a focus on the body and our
Mm.
the human, experience, and not just having profound spiritual experiences and not letting it fucking land anywhere, or, um, yeah, I think there's something in it, but I think like even just highlighting before about soul remembrance and about how I've experienced in different ways. I've experienced it through like feeling that deep resonance where it just brings on the tears and that
Hmm.
emotion just flows. Or I've sat there with a book and been like, yeah, yeah, like that was a different way of soul
Hmm.
remembrance that was just reading
Hmm.
something. And then there has been other times when I have been in a session with someone or whatever it is, and you have like a deeper, you're clearing a
Hmm.
soul wound or something like that, and there is a remembrance, and that can definitely feel more jarring or activated. Like
Hmm.
it's almost like we can see the whole spectrum of how it can feel. And it's like, okay, can we consciously and more intentionally do this without it feeling like so that it feels a certain way, so that it feels more easeful in
Hmm.
the body. Yeah. Yeah.
There's also a piece here, I think, about the remembering our sovereignty and our power in that we get to decide and define what this feels like. We're not at the mercy of um, what is happening to us, like
Yeah.
sometimes I think it's seeking that activation or seeking that remembrance and um, maybe also being aware that I can set the intention for the way that I want this to
Yeah.
feel and to be.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yeah.
maybe that is what we're also witnessing is more sovereignty going into
Mm.
spaces, more sovereignty in group spaces, just more sovereignty embodied
Yeah.
that is shifting. Um, we've had conversations about the changing face of the spiritual industry or this of spirituality, and I wonder if it
Yeah.
is a lot to do too as we become embodied, sovereign, and whole in our remembrance. That is also like creating or recreating experience in a new way.
Definitely. Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, the embodiment piece, we're understanding now.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly for me, even just like in the last 3 or 4 years, really understanding the importance of what the embodiment human journey piece, the physical incarnation, the descending into the physical body, all the things
Yep.
that we've talked
Yep.
about many, many
Hmm.
times here. Um, and so that's going to mean it looks different when we do
Yeah.
it in
Totally.
groups,
Yep.
one-on-ones, or just, like you
Hmm.
said, picking up a book or listening to a podcast or, having a moment in nature or
Yeah.
whatever way that it comes through, or
Yeah.
a conversation,
Conversation. Yeah.
whatever way it comes through. So, um, and understanding that you don't have to have that clarity, you don't have to have a big moment. It's the feeling of it. How does
Hmm.
it feel? How does it
Yeah.
feel? And then letting that land. Because there are pieces that I'm starting to understand now that came to me 5 years ago, or like back in 2020, and I didn't really understand. And it's taken this amount of time for me to find the clarity, or for it to crystallize. That's the word coming to me, or the
Yes.
crystalline clarity to kind of weave in, multidimensional clarity, maybe. And this is it. It's a journey. It's a
Hmm.
journey and it's unfolding. And we don't need it to take away from life and being in the human experience of, because sometimes, like we've also talked about, life brings you into your human a bit more for a time. You've got to do a bit more human stuff. And then there are times that might feel more spiritual, but finding the balance and the blend of the two is where
Yeah. Yeah. That's
we are
that's that's what it's all
landing.
about, isn't it?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there used to be times when I would be like literally saying in my head, I hate this. Why have I got to do this 3D shit? Why have
Mm.
I got, do you know what I mean? And I'm
Mm.
talking about just normal life stuff like paying the bills, doing the
Yes.
shopping, and like,
Mm.
thinking like, oh, okay, about the life, your life
Mm.
admin, if you like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just want to do the fun stuff. I just want to do the work, the spiritual work. I want to work with clients. I want to be in that space.
Mm.
And then I went from that into like a complete pivot, I'd say last year and even the end of 2024, of like spiritual stuff aside, I want to be in my human. I want to get my life together. I want to get my foundation set. I'm here. I feel like I've avoided the human aspect for too long now. So it's almost like, yeah, that bringing them both
Mm-hmm.
to balance. And I think that's what's been the process for so many people the last 12 months or so.
Yes. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
actually, it's been longer than that. You said 2020. I feel 2020 as well. Like
Mm.
things have just dropped in now that's been
Mm.
5 years ago or something like that.
Mm.
So it's all been a process and a journey. It's this deeper embodiment and that descension back into the body and like and bridging spirituality and physicality
Mm.
and yeah, learning how to walk the talk and carry that wisdom through everyday life, even when we are doing life admin and
Mm-hmm.
having
Mm-hmm.
conversations with our kids or in relationships or it's yeah, it's starting to weave through, and then we're definitely going to experience things differently, like you said, with the changes that's happening, in the spiritual industry or community and how everyone's kind of shifting gears and maybe looking at things differently now, and
Mm.
trying to be more grounded and embodied in their approach to things. Um, we are going to experience things differently. We,
Mm.
we have to because we are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to look different.
Absolutely.
Mm,
And the more that we remember ourselves as whole and one, as in just even one with all of the aspects of um, who we are,
yeah,
and bringing that into the whole embodied, I think that that will maybe continue to evolve somewhat as well.
yeah, for sure.
Thank you for joining us in this space of truth, reflection, and connection. If today's conversation stirred something within you, we invite you to sit with it, journal on it, or share it with someone who walks the path of self-awareness too.
These conversations are living transmissions, and we are so grateful to be on this journey with you. Until next time, remember your human experience is sacred and you are never walking alone.
With love, Lauren
and Ali.